Okay, let me be the first one to welcome you to the IEC Pre-Apprenticeship program. Just give you a really brief introduction of myself. My name is Kurt Geisinger. You can reach me at this email address, at this phone number. I'll be your instructor for the year. If you have any issues, any questions, any problems throughout the year, I'll be your main point of contact. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to me. The best bet is probably to reach out via email. However, that is my cell phone, so if you have any immediate concerns or problems and you need to get a hold of me right away, you can text me, you can call me on that phone number as well. There's also a feature to message me through our learning management system, which we'll talk about as we go through this video here. So moving on, we'll jump into our LMS, our learning management portal. So at this point, if you're watching this video, you've already landed on this page. This is our learning management / content management, or LMS CMS page. So I'm going to kind of start our way sort of at the top left and work our way through here. This will be sort of informal, sort of loose as we go through. But right off the bat, if you ever want to go back to this main home page, you can just click up here. It'll take you right back to this page we're looking at. Should you ever want to see a list of other participants, if you want to get a hold of anybody, you can simply go to this participants link right here. You can see right now there's not a lot to speak of. There's myself. This is sort of the instructor account here. This is a student account. I just create this so I can have the same view that you guys have. There's really nothing going on here with this one. You can ignore this. But our apprenticeship director, Christy Wickard, can be found here, as well as our executive director, Marissa Bankert. Throughout the year, you might have a need to contact those two ladies as well. If you do, here's a way to do that. But as I said, if you do need to contact me, send me a message through the LMS, you can simply click on my link here and you can see there's an option to send a message. That works just as well as sending an email. In fact, when you send that, I get an email alerting me, so that's also a great way to reach out and contact me should the need arise. So as I said, we can click on this sort of home link here and go right back to this page at any point. So moving right on down the line, you can see grades right here. If we go to our grade book, and this looks pretty daunting, like there's a lot of assignments, and quite frankly there is. Most of them are pretty small, but our grade is split up into 2 semesters. First semester, second semester. Within each semester, we have 4 different categories. We have what we call homework, quizzes, midterm, and final exam. Right off the bat, you're going to see this category for homework. These are all the quote-unquote homework assignments. Now, I don't care when you guys do them, where you do them, but to match our grading system, we call them homework assignments. These are basically just worksheets. We'll go into one and show you an example. All of the worksheets under this homework category, you have 2 attempts on. We keep the highest attempt. This is effectively the practice round, right? So you can see there's several worksheets for each lesson, and we'll take a closer look at that. Again, most of these are very short, so don't let the amount scare you. But we get down into our next category here of quizzes. For most lessons, there's going to be a quiz. These are all 10-point quizzes. I call them comprehension quizzes. It's what I deem are probably the 10 most important questions out of the lesson. I will tell you, all of these questions from the comprehension quizzes come from these worksheets. If you spend the time on the worksheets, these quizzes should be a breeze. Now, you do only get 1 opportunity on these quizzes. This is kind of game day, so there's not more than 1 attempt. You get 1 chance. That's the grade we keep. Moving down from that, you're going to see we do have a midterm exam. Same thing with the final exam. We have a part 1, part 2, part 3 in this case. And then second semester, it's basically rinse, wash, repeat. We have homework, we have quizzes. If we scroll down here, we get into the quiz section. We have a midterm, and then we do have a final exam. You'll notice that final exam is not yet posted. That is because IEC National actually creates that exam, and they haven't released it yet. And your overall grade is made up of an average of both semesters. So one semester is 25% homework, 25% quizzes, 25% midterm, and 25% final. So that midterm and final are very big parts of your grade. That's probably about all you're going to do on this left-hand side. So let's go back to our home page here once again. At this point, again, you guys are already watching this video. if there's any announcements that I have to make to the group as a whole, I'm going to go here and post an announcement. You will get an email alerting you that there has been an announcement made. Aside from that, you can click on this link and it'll show all the announcements that I've posted there. But then you're going to see a schedule for first semester, a schedule for second semester. We'll just go ahead and go to one of these here, see what it looks like. What I will say about the schedule, none of our assignments have a hard due date applied to them. So what that means is this schedule is essentially a suggestion. Some of you will get started earlier than the schedule suggests, which you can see here is Monday, the 6th of September. I expect all of you will actually be started before that. So I do highly suggest, get a head start. Start ahead of time. But you can see each lesson, I put the date of when you should be working on that right on the lesson title. Again, with the no hard due dates policy, because I know every school schedule is going to be different. If one of these dates slips and you're working a little bit behind schedule, there's really no penalty for that. Before we get into the lessons here, there is a little introduction. If you click here, there's some videos on how to use this LMS that are put out by IEC National. This video takes care of, I think, most of those things. You do have several books that you will be issued or you have been issued already. Your school's going to have those books for you. They will hand them out to you once your year starts. Essentially, you're going to have an IEC student manual and an IEC student workbook. Both books look just like this, except this one says student manual, the other one says student workbook. The manual has content in it for you to read. The workbooks have worksheets, but you're not going to do those worksheets. Those worksheets are actually the same exact worksheets that you're going to find on our LMS portal. You're going to actually do those worksheets online. But anyway, most of your content or a lot of your content is going to come out of your student manual book. Another bulk of your content or another book that you guys have is the Electrical Wiring Residential, or the EWR, or the Red Book, I call it sometimes. But you should have a copy of this book as well. That's where the other half of your course content is going to come from. Then the last book that you have, and arguably one of the most important, is actually going to be the National Electrical Code, the 2020 edition of it for this year. Those are the three main books we're concerned with here, and that's where your content is coming from. So we have actually a digital version of your student manual, can be found right here in this link, first year student manual. This is a digital version of the National Electrical Code. Now this does take, you kind of have to create an account and sign up, but it is free. I do recommend you do that. I don't have a digital version of this book I can share with you. This is actually by a third-party publisher, so you'd have to actually buy that. We do have, however, some audio books. I don't know if anybody's interested, but here's an audio book link of this book. And here is an audiobook link of the EWR, which is this book. And then this is actually sort of a supplementary book. I believe they're actually issuing these books to you guys as well. This is an illustrated guide or a comprehensive guide to the code book. There's really no content coming out of that, but it does explain the code very well. Very, very good book. But here's a digital version of it as well. So anyway, let's jump into one of these chapters here. So each section of content is broken up into a lesson. You can see here we have lesson 101, 102, 103. We go all the way up to lesson 136. Okay. So if we click on any one of these lessons, it's going to expand and show us what's contained within that lesson. So right off the bat, you're going to have a to-do list. What should I do for this lesson? What is the mandatory things we have to do? And you can see it's the same for 102, it's the same for 103, and I'm actually going to use 103 as the example. This is just a better example than 101. But right off the bat, what should you do in lesson 103? If the date is September 16th, we should be on 103. What should we do? Well, we're going to have to read lesson 103. Now, when they say read lesson 103, they mean read lesson 103 out of this textbook. That will always be the case. Then, in this case, they're telling us to actually read something from the EWR as well. We have to read chapter 1 of our EWR book. So we actually have two different chapters to read. In some cases, there's nothing to read in the EWR book. In some cases, they'll say read a chapter from this book, and there's almost no content in it. It just varies on what the the topic is. But you want to make sure, what should we be reading for this lesson? That's where you're going to find out what to read. The first 2 lines or the first line is always going to tell you, what do I need to read for this lesson? Then this next section basically tells me which worksheets do I need to complete. And then there's going to be a comprehension quiz for almost every lesson. There's a few lessons that don't have that comprehension quiz. But essentially, what do you need to complete for every lesson? It's as simple as read the appropriate reading, complete the appropriate worksheets, and complete the comprehension quiz, if there is one. Usually there will be. So as we move down, they do give us a little purpose for the lesson, which gives you kind of a synopsis, a summary of what to expect. Then they're going to give you sort of a quick link directly to the chapter in the digital textbook. Literally this thing behaves just like a real book here. So it's just like having the real book in front of you. So just a shortcut to this specific chapter. So again, if you're not sure what you should be reading, this will give you a shortcut to that chapter in your IEC book. Then we're going to see the objectives of the chapter. Again, this is just kind of a nice overview or a preview of sort of what to expect. Next up in the lesson is going to be what I've called instructor uploads. That's anything that I've posted that I think you guys need to see. In most cases, in the instructor uploads, it's going to be a video that I've made explaining something in the chapter. Usually it's a video of 15 minutes or less. Sometimes it gets a little lengthier, but I do highly recommend you guys check this out. Whatever I posted here for any particular lesson. In this case, it's a little video explaining the National Electrical Code. Next up, we have a review section. These are just some tools for you guys to review what you've done. Again, I'm going to have no idea whether you've clicked these or not. These are simply for your use. Use them or not, that's entirely up to you guys. Then we get into sort of the meat of it all here. Worksheets. Here is where you're going to find all those worksheets that were mentioned up here in our to-do section, right? All these worksheets from reading worksheet all the way down to 103.5 worksheet are going to be found here. Reading worksheet 103.1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These worksheets are all what's considered the homeworks in your grade book. So you will have 2 attempts on all of these worksheets. We're going to keep the highest attempt. Then after you get all the worksheets done, we have our comprehension quiz. That's the exact same format. These are all, again, 10 questions. It's all going to be 10 questions from these worksheets. So again, take the time to do these worksheets. These quizzes should be a breeze for you. The only difference here is you do only have 1 attempt on these quizzes. So essentially that is one lesson, right? We're going to come in here. We're going to learn what do we need to read. What worksheets do we need to do, which can be found right here in this purple worksheet section. And then we need to make sure we do the comprehension quiz. And we'll call that a lesson. So at this point, lesson 103 would be completed. We can click it to close it again, and we can move on to lesson 104, right? So that is essentially what your year is going to look like here. As I said, if you guys have any questions or concerns, you can feel free to reach out to me. My information is on the screen once again. And I don't want you to ever hesitate. If you have a problem, if you have a concern, if you're just not getting something, shoot me a message on the LMS, shoot me an email. You can shoot me a text. You can give me a call. That's probably not always the best way because I am busy during the day, but I'm always going to do my best to respond to you guys at the very worst case within 1 day. So if you reach out to me today, by the time you get to your class tomorrow, hopefully you've got an answer to your question at the very latest. Again, my name is Kurt Geisinger. Thanks for listening. Good luck this year. Have fun. And I hope to talk to you all soon.